Well, hello.
Hey,
Hi. Cantor, you have a beautiful background there.
I know,
yeah.
isn't that amazing?
It looks like you're just sitting on the bima.
And what's interesting too is that it's wild how you can do that and you don't fade into the background when you do.
So
Yeah.
crazy.
What a virtual
I'm
background.
glad that we're going to have this be a sacred conversation that's worthy of the sanctuary.
Well, I'm blessed to be alone here in this huge, huge sanctuary because I'm going to be doing a little loving work on a scroll today. So
Hmm.
I'm very blessed to be here.
Nice. Well, I wanted to bring something, and Cantors, you started. You're thankful for being there. I had an incredible session, a couple of sessions for the last couple of weeks in our adult education world, leading a class called "Let's Talk About God." My first suggestion for the name of the class, "Let's Taco About God," was denied. So we went with "Let's Talk About God." And we pretty much over 3 sessions just talked about what our experiences of the Holy One, the Infinite, God, Adonai, any of those terms mean for those who are in our class. Um, and you could see some of the things we use this thing called Mentimeter, and you could see where our class lined up on important questions like, I believe that God has power to interfere in the affairs of people, uh, that God created the world, and we dug into each and every one of these things in beautiful, fascinating ways, where we had some who agreed strongly on things that others disagreed strongly on. And so I've been thinking a lot about God for me, and especially that tomorrow is our national holiday of Thanksgiving. Been thinking a lot about what prayers of gratitude mean for me, and exploring the idea of God with this class. Um, for me, uh, I on that scale of does God play an active role in my life, like a hands-on role, I go more towards the disagree side. But then because of that, to balance myself out, I go strong on the I need to thank God for the world that God has created for me. And so a lot of my thankfulness comes in the way of kind of that watchmaker that puts the pieces in place and watches it run. And I am deeply, deeply, deeply thankful for that watch being made and for God putting it into motion. So, Rabbi Cantor, what are you thinking about when it comes to God and gratitude?
Well, I was thinking about, well, since I'm here in a sanctuary, how awesome it is that, one of our great traditions when we pray, when we say blessings, is that sometimes we say them very, very softly at certain parts of the year. And sometimes we proclaim them very loudly, like the way we play with Shema, for the year. And then the second line becomes loud during Yom Kippur. So I was thinking to myself, we have all these services and all this silent meditation, and we go inward and we're thankful and we're grateful. And we even have Modim, we have a prayer that we all say together. But at the end of the day, we don't get an opportunity to proclaim and to say out loud what we're grateful for. And what's beautiful about Thanksgiving is that I know this year will be different because it may not be human beings around a table. It may be sort of a beautiful configuration of squares, but no matter what, people have to name their gratitude at this time of year, and they have to say it out loud. And even deeper than that, much of the time they have to look the person in the eye as they're talking about either the gratitude they have for them or just in general being open about and vulnerable. This is a really raw it's like got all the layers of hard and sweet and tender, and painful, but it is a time to say, through all of it, I still am so grateful for, and I look forward to a chance to say it out loud to someone I love tomorrow at some point.
Nice.
That's all.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, I've been really grateful recently for the idea in Judaism that we can really wrestle with God. I've just been really appreciating that in my conversations with people, where I get to have these conversations about how non dogmatic Judaism is. And people say, like, oh, I really appreciate that. And then that helps me really appreciate that within Judaism. So, I feel differently about God pretty much every day. But something I have been thinking about recently, I've just been noticing and experiencing this pandemic, is how our brains get used to things, how we're kind of, I don't know, where it feels like we're almost biologically set to acclimate. And I think that's sometimes a bad thing. It's maybe neither here nor there, that when things are really bad, we get used to that. When things are really good, we get used to that. And so, to me, I think I'm experiencing God recently and not getting used to things and in working on not being used to things, whether that is, so many hungry children in the United States, or, you know, just being grateful for what I have and saying, I don't need to be used to this all the time. I can still feel a sense of awesomeness around this. So that's how I've been thinking about God recently, and gratitude.
Thank you. And thanks for this prompt. It's a challenging one and a great one. I think for me, I've been set from a very, very young age to be great. Like my baseline is gratitude. Um, I grew up with someone um, who, in our family life had had a lot of things taken away. Things weren't easy, and that for them, their baseline was gratitude. So that for like almost every occasion, we said the Shehechianu, and we said the Shehechianu for like really for everything, for like any new thing, including moving from a very large house into a very small apartment. We said the Shehechianu, that we could have still a roof over our head and to be able to still have each other, and that I think for me, God was associated as a presence, not as a worker of magic, and certainly not as a puller of strings. And so I think because the baseline for me had been gratitude, and because feeling God as a presence was always something that was so in our family life, and bringing God into situations. So not only the Shehechianu, but we said blessings before meals. We did other things to be able to bring God in. There was always an intimacy in both my feeling toward God or feeling of God, and also it very much being interwoven with gratitude, even or maybe even especially when life was hard, which I know I've drawn on a lot in these past few years, and certainly a lot in these past several months. And I'm grateful to be able to know that as we go into this Thanksgiving like no other, that we're not alone in this, that we are able to struggle, and that we are able to find ways, both as individuals, to be able to say things to ourselves and go inward, and also to find people with whom we want to make that eye contact and say exactly what we're grateful to them for. So I'm giving each one of you eye contact to say thank you. Thank you for being an incredible leader. Thank you for being an incredible empath. And thank you for being an incredibly wise and empathic and gracious group of leaders that I can't imagine how we got so lucky to get to work together and to get to lead a community that is so extraordinary. So thank you.
Okay, I have
Amen.
to seal it with this, okay? Are you ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Happy Thanksgiving. I love you guys.
Happy
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.